Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Right and Wrong Talk Show. Tonight we're talking about a global punchline, some would say a global farce, and its main character is the man who never fails to grab the spotlight, Donald Trump. Recently, he's done a series of things that have pushed people around the world from raised eyebrows to clenched fists. Some governments didn't just get angrier, they wrote their anger straight into diplomatic notes. So what exactly did he do? And why does so much of the world find it unbearable? Tonight, I'm not here to hype you up, wave flags, or stand on moral high ground. I'm here to sit with you like we're at a bar, listening to a friend rant, slowly unpacking this mess, making it clear, making it funny, but also making it serious. One thing first, this is not blind bashing. And it's not praise either. We're putting facts, reactions, and context on the table, so you can laugh while frowning. Let's start with the headline-grabbing event. The United States launched a major military operation in Venezuela, seized President Nicolas Maduro, and took him back to the U.S. to face prosecution. Yes, you heard that right. This wasn't a rumor. It was a real operation. Broadcasts live by media around the world. Then came the next bombshell. The White House stated that Venezuela's oil, tens of millions of barrels, would be placed under U.S. controlled or sold by the U.S., supposedly to help rebuild Venezuela. The world exploded. Many Latin American countries accused the U.S. of blatant interference and outright plundering. European nations and even NATO partners expressed deep concern. The United Nations and multiple governments used phrases like violation of international law and infringement on national sovereignty. This wasn't just criticism, it was alarming. Why did this upset the world so badly? First, sovereignty. Since World War II, there's been a basic bottom line in international order. Don't casually use military force to capture foreign leaders and seize national resources. If whoever punches harder gets the oil becomes the new rule. What kind of world are we living in? Small countries started panicking. Neighbors started buying weapons. Global tension skyrockets. Second, the abuse of national security. This concept was originally meant to combat terrorism and transnational crime. Suddenly, it's being stretched to justify regime change and resource control. Many countries are thinking, if this logic works today, who's next tomorrow? Scholars, diplomats, and foreign ministries lined up to respond. Even traditional U.S. allies found it awkward to openly support Washington. That kind of silence is colder than a diplomatic cold shoulder. Now let's move to the second act. The Greenland drama. Trump once joked about buying Greenland. This time, it wasn't just a joke. Statements from the White House suggested that all options are on the table, and military options were not clearly ruled out. Greenland is Danish territory. Nordic countries, Canada, and others reacted immediately. Sovereignty is not for sale. The Arctic has its own rules. And this is not a real estate deal. Suddenly, Nordic diplomatic circles were full of statements saying, "This is not funny. International rules are not toys." Put it this way, imagine your neighbor announcing publicly, "I'm considering buying your backyard," while eyeing the food in your fridge. How would you react? You'd be furious. International relations are just neighborhood disputes magnified. Except the consequences involving armies, sanctions, and trade wars. This kind of behavior stretched alliances painfully thin. Partners who once coordinated closely with the U.S. began questioning whether America was still a reliable ally. Trust, once lost, becomes incredibly expensive to rebuild. Then there's the domestic side, which also made the world uneasy. On the anniversary of January 6th, Trump attacked his opponents and announced pardons or sentencing reductions for some individuals. involved in the Capitol riots, claiming they were treated unfairly. Too many observers. This sent a chilling signal about respect for the rule of law and democratic institutions. When a national leader openly defends people who challenged election results and stormed parliament, foreign democracies started asking uncomfortable questions. If the U.S. can't uphold its own democratic norms, what moral authority does it have left? Inside his own party, Trump also reportedly issued loyalty warnings, suggesting that those who didn't support him strongly enough could face political consequences. Binding party discipline to personal loyalty raises alarm bells. Supporters, of course, see it differently. They argue Trump is decisive, bold, and willing to do what others won't. They believe the U.S. has been taken advantage of for too long and that strength is overdue. This argument resonates at home, but internationally, politics runs on trust, legitimacy, and rules, not just muscles. Zooming out, the consequences are clear. Geopolitical uncertainty rises. Regional tensions escalated. International law weakens. Soft power erodes. Public reactions are divided. Protests clashed with counter-protests. Scholars argue. Governments issue careful statements emphasizing sovereignty and rules, not because it sounds nice, but because they are afraid of what happens if those rules disappear. Here's a lighter metaphor. If global politics were a corporate board meeting, the U.S. used to be the senior director, experienced, sometimes annoying, but predictable. Now it sometimes feels like one director flips the table and says, "We redistributing assets," then starts opening other people's drawers. Some board members got angry. Some get scared. Some quietly formed alliances. Others started planning escape routes. That's the world today. Let me end seriously. Political leaders don't just answer to voters. They shape the rules everyone else has to live with. Short-term toughness may win applause, but long-term damage is paid by ordinary people in money, security, and stability. The Right and Wrong Talk Show isn't here to preach. It just asks one question. When does strength protect? And when does it become plundered? Diplomacy is not a boxing ring. Once the rules are smashed, nobody walks away clean. Thank you for watching. This has been Right and Wrong Talk Show.